Okay.
So the first question is, why did you choose teaching and why King Drew?
So the reason why I chose teaching is because I wanted to give back to so many young Black and Brown students to let them know that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. And I just wanted to be able to use the resources that I had to help them grow in the field that they want to grow in. And the reason why I chose King Drew is because I've been studying that school for a couple of years now, and I've seen all the accomplishments at that school. I've seen all the teachers that teach there, and I was just so I googled. You can Google everything now. Go on Instagram, type in King Drew, and I was just so amazed with the students, the academic success. I was amazed with all the things that these seasoned teachers have accomplished. And I was like, you know what? I want to learn and grow from these teachers at that school because I'm only 28. So I was like, some of these teachers have been teaching for 20, 15, 18 years. And I was like, okay, I want to learn from the best. And if I want to learn from the best, then I have to be at King Drew. And I just seen the passion that a lot of the young people had at King Drew to, be a doctor one day, to be a lawyer, to be a basketball player, to be an attorney, to be the next Black or Latina president, all that. When I seen the dreams that those young people at King Drew had, I said to myself, I want to be a part of that legacy.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
How do you maintain, I know that you're new right now, but how do you maintain good relationships with your students?
So the way I maintain good relationships with my students is I try to remind them that I do understand where you're coming from because I said that we're living through a pandemic. It's hard, it's frustrating. So I try to always have questionnaires after every lesson. I'd ask them, was this manageable? Did you all have enough time to work on this particular homework assignment? Um, I do mental health check-ins every day, but I actually have actual mental health lessons once every 2 to 3 weeks, just to check on my students to make sure, is everything all right? What can I do as a teacher to, help you? And then I put them in small groups so that they're able to, talk to each other and share with each other, like some of the things that they're going through so that they don't feel alone, that they don't feel that they're the only one facing this issue, and then finding other tools and other ways that they can learn from their classmates. And then if they ask me, hey, Mr. Towner, what do you think? And then I'll offer my advice and say, if I was in this situation, I'm not sure, but if I was you, I would most likely probably do this. But at the end of the day, we don't know what we would do if we were in that person's situation unless we're in that person's situation. So I realized as a teacher, all I can provide is, hope and positivity and allowing students to feel what they're feeling and let them know that, hey, you're not going to move on from the situation right then and there. So it's okay to let your emotion out. Even with young men, sometimes young men are too afraid to show emotion, but I'm glad that in our class we were able to break that barrier and them being comfortable enough to share how they're feeling in front of their classmates.
Yeah, I love that because you don't know like what students could be going through nowadays, especially during these times. So I think
Hmm.
that's really helpful.
Thank you.
Do you see the value in students learning things that are going to shape them as a person as well as broaden their knowledge? And what key points would you like your students to take away from your class?
So the key points that I want my students to take away from my class is that you need each other. You can't do this alone. Like, even though I'm a teacher and I have my own classroom, I still depend on the students. I depend on the students' parents. I depend on my colleagues because we're a team. And I want my students to understand that in order to get to that next level in life, you need to be able to work with each other. You need to ask yourself, sometimes I just need to take the back seat and let other people lead. And when I let other people lead, then maybe I'll learn something. So not being afraid to sometimes just take the back seat and just observe other people and how they do different things so that you can, grow as an individual leader. And I also want my students to know that education is important, but also your mental health is important because so many times we just focus on, I want to get that A, I want to be, a scientist one day, I want to be a doctor one day. But then all along on that journey, we're not taking care of what's going on the inside and we neglect ourselves. So I want my students to know is take you wherever you go. I don't care if that's in a relationship. I don't care if that's, in that boardroom meeting that you have. I don't care if that's in a certain space where only you look like that, you're only the only Black or brown person, or you're the only person that identifies as a gender binary, or you're the only person that's a part of the LGBTQ plus community, or you're the only woman or the Black and brown. Wherever you go, take you with you. Don't ever feel like you have to neglect yourself just to appease people. And I want my students to also know is that there's different avenues in life that you can take. Sometimes you may say, I want to do this in life, and that may not work. I want the people, my students, to keep going after their dreams, keep going after all these different options, to let them know that, you know, don't give up. And when you don't give up, then you can't be mad at yourself because you never stop. So just keep getting up.
Completely agree. And what are some challenges you have experienced with distance learning and how have you adapted?
So some of the challenges that I have faced through distance learning is I want to be there for my students as much as possible. And there's some things that have happened in my students' life behind the scenes that they confided in with me and admin. And I just say, oh my gosh, I wish I could just, I just had $1 million so I can just, help this person and help that person. And because I just want to help, 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 help all the time. And I realize that I can't always be there, for my students. But what I can do is every day they log into Zoom, even if they're not on camera, acknowledging and saying, hey, thank you for coming. I appreciate you for coming. You are royal, just building them up every chance. You are a king, you are a queen. And you may be in your bed just listening to me as I'm doing this whole lesson. You may not even be doing nothing. You may have a zero in my class, but I want to appreciate you for just logging on. So just making sure I just appreciate my students, making sure that they feel loved, also holding them accountable so that they know that, if they have a dream to, be the next, I don't know, vice president one day or the president one day, that even when they're not feeling so good, they still have to keep going. They can't just give up and throw in the towel. But I also understand that, when you were a teenager, your emotions can sometimes be everywhere. And even as an adult, your emotions can sometimes be everywhere. So always telling my students just to be in tune with your feelings, but just acknowledging my students every single day. If that's all I can do is acknowledging their existence. And even if they don't feel comfortable getting on camera, I just tell them, can you just type a little bit? Just say hi, just say that you're there so we can all just, applaud you for showing up. And then they type HILOL dot dot dot. And then we all just applaud in my class that, that they contribute in that way.
Mhm. And what do you like to do during your free time?
Okay, so during my free time, I love, love, love social media. I used to have TikTok. I used to have 500,000. I used to do blogs on social media. But since there's so much going on in the world today, I just don't have time to make 5 to 6 videos a day. So right now, I just do Instagram. I write books. I have 2 to 3 books out. Well, I have 2 books that write out right now. There's one called Secretly Unhappy, and then there's another book that I have called Peace in the Dark. And there's another book that's coming out in 2021. I'm not going to release the name of it yet. It's still getting approved, but I like to write books about relationships. I like to write books about moving on. I like to write books about friendships. I like to write books about discovering yourself, identity, all those different things. I like posting my food on Instagram, telling people what I'm going to eat. I like hiking. I work out twice a day. I go swimming at 5:30 in the morning, and then I work out late at night at the beach. But I feel like mental health and also exercising and taking care of your body is very important, especially in the Black and Brown community when so many people are experiencing high blood pressure and diabetes. And so I just want to also promote healthy living on my social media platform. And I also like, hanging out with my family. I'm big on family, and I'm also big on, I like watching YouTube videos, and I like Netflix. I love, love Netflix.
Me
And
too.
I like making brownies and eating the whole pot. That's what I call mental health.
I love that because you use your free time to help others, and that's really impressive.
Thank you.
So, do you have any advice for incoming freshmen in general or words of wisdom?
My advice to freshmen is I know that sometimes you want to fit in and you want to, be like the older kids, the seniors. But I always tell young people this. I always tell young people this. You have the power to change the world. Don't let the world change you. Don't ever feel like you have to assimilate to, be a part of the crowd. The crowd wants to be a part of you. So if you recognize that, then even if you have no friends, you better walk down that hallway like you have a whole troop of people walking behind you. Somebody's gonna say, "Who is that girl with the red curly hair? I want to be just like her." And so when you have that confidence in yourself, and when you speak highly about yourself, then I promise you, nothing anyone can do or say will hurt you. Yeah, it might hurt you just a little bit, but you'll be able to pick yourself back up again because you realize who you are, and what you're worth, and what you're capable of doing. Because you are a force to be reckoned with.
Those are all good, and I really appreciate this. This was the last question, and I thank you for joining. And I appreciate this. This will be really helpful for our incoming students and for other students at King Drew. And I really appreciate this. So thank you for this
Thank you. I feel
evening.
like I was interviewed with Oprah or something. I was nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, this is Oprah Winfrey with the King Drew. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So have
You
a
have a good
good
one.
day and see you later.
Thank you.